My fellow Americans, we embarked on a mission to make America great again for all Americans. As I conclude my term as the 45th President of the United States, we did what we came here to do.
Well, it's about time.
Please don't lose that respect. The world respects us again. Please don't lose that respect. Make America great again. Respect. Respect. Please don't lose that respect. The movement we started is just beginning. To serve as your president has been an honor beyond description. I had not spent my career as a politician, and perhaps most importantly of all, thousands of people came out with their families. I knew that they did not just come out for me. It deeply moved me. They came out to show me their support and love for me. I did not seek the easiest course. I did not. We did what we came here to do. Please don't lose that respect. The world respects us again. Please don't lose that respect. Make America great again. Respect. Respect. Please don't lose that respect. The movement we started is just beginning. So I left behind my former life and stepped into a very difficult arena. Now, as I leave the White House, we must never forsake our belief in America. I fought for you, I fought for your family, I fought for our country. Above all, I fought for America, strong, proud, and free. We extend our best wishes, and we also want them to have luck. A very important word. Please don't lose that respect. The world respects us again. Please don't lose that respect. Make America great again. Respect. Respect. Please don't lose that respect. The movement we started is just beginning.
Good afternoon or good evening, and welcome to the Vanguard. For Spike of the Yangala Yang twins Cohen, I am Matt Wright, and together we are traversing the muddied waters of freedom.
I don't even get that one.
Yangala? I learned it from I learned that word from hunters, and it means young boy.
Oh.
In Yiddish.
Okay. Well, hey, folks, thanks again for tuning in to this episode of the Muddy Waters of Freedom. Forgive the layout. Everything decided not to work again. So, but thanks for tuning in, and be sure to share this video right now wherever you are watching it. The last thing that big tech wants is for you and your closest loved ones to be watching a hour-long, probably more than an hour-long Libertarian podcast on a Tuesday night. That would make them very, very upset. So stick it to them by sharing it. Be sure to like us, follow us, subscribe to us on everything. We are on Flote. We are on Facebook. We are on Instagram. We are on YouTube. We are on Twitter. We're on all the podcasting platforms. However you are seeing or listening to this, be sure to like it, follow it, hit the bell. If there's a bell, hit the bell. We want your phone to blow up with notifications. And thanks for tuning in.
First and foremost, allow me to thank the very fine people at siestacava.com. Siestacava.com for the kava that I'm drinking on today's episode.
And allow me to thank the Blue for this delicious, ultra pure drinking water I'm drinking. King, what are you drinking?
I'm drinking some organic chamomile tea. So whoever made this, thank you.
to all above Bulavanaka.
Well, this episode, of course, is brought to you by it's brought to you by Flote, first of all. Go to flote.app. If you want a social media platform that doesn't spy on you, that doesn't sell your information to advertisers, that doesn't tell you what you can and can't say on it, that doesn't fact check you when you say a joke, which we're going to talk about later, because it was a joke. It was a joke. If you don't want someone to do that to you, then go to Flote. Flote is the best app out there that is going to leave you alone and let you go and enjoy their app. And of course, it's free. If you Flote is available on Android and on iTunes, on whatever you people have, the Mac,
iOS,
iOS, and it's available on the iTunes store, whatever the hell you people use, and it's also on Google Play, and or you can go to flote.app and use it on their browser. This episode also is brought to you by the Oh, good, that's not going to work because you know what? Hold on. This episode, very soon, you're going to know who this is brought to you by. This episode is brought to you by the Libertarian Party, Waffle House Caucus, the fastest growing waffle-related caucus in not just the Libertarian Party, but in any political party in this godforsaken country. This episode is also brought to you by Nug of Knowledge, smokable CBD products. Nug is not your usual CBD provider because A, they're selling weed, but also because they use a bit of the proceeds, part of the proceeds that come in go to fight the war on drugs and also to give to a compassionate care program for veterans and people with disabilities to be able to access CBD products that are helpful to them. Many people that use Nug of Knowledge say that it gives them a pick-me-up and helps with joint pain and inflammation, especially that green one, because that one's got a lot of THC in it. This episode is also, of course, brought to you by Henry McMaster, who is and shall remain a bitch. Matt?
Are they seeing the graphics? This is completely different for how we usually do it.
They're seeing the graphics. You guys can't.
Okay.
Yeah, I know. I feel like I'm missing out on something.
Yeah, no. See, usually you can, but that's.
Yeah. Did you just say that they can use the green one, but we don't have a graphic up?
Yeah, no. They can see it, unless they're listening to the podcast, and they definitely cannot see it.
Yes, that's accurate. And God bless all of you people who continue to use the podcasting platform. We definitely appreciate it.
There's a cat now. We have a cat. This is going to be one of those shows.
Right.
Good. It's good. Now that's the official cat of Muddy Waters. Now we're going to start. Well, do you want to? Let's introduce King first, and then we'll go to the rapid fire segment. Kingsley. We have Kingsley Edwards, who is one of the half of the Kingsley and Aaron Edwards dynasty that are creating the Flote app. Tell us about yourself and tell us about Flote, man.
Yeah, so thanks for having me on here. Big fans of you guys, and you guys were like pretty early Flote users, so I appreciate all the support. Yeah. And I think now I've sent you some BTC super chats on there for a while now since Bitcoin, I think it was even lower than 10,000. So those are probably tripled or in value or more.
They have.
Yes.
So you're welcome. But not those, yeah. But yeah, I'm entrepreneur, been in the crypto space since 2013. Flote is like my third company in tech, and I've always been focused on crypto. We also run, my wife and I, we run the Las Vegas Bitcoin meetup since 2014. We launched Flote in July 2019. So yeah, excited to be here. Good times for us because of what's happening in crypto. Obviously with Flote, for people that don't know, we're a social network. We support free speech. I know how controversial, and we have crypto integrated. So what that means is that's basically we're connecting, people online with their social identities, and then you can remain, anonymous on Flote. But as far as the payments channels, they're peer-to-peer. So what I mean by that is, I think Aaron, she just actually sent you guys another $10 in BTC as a super chat on the live stream on Flote, and you get 100% of that, where YouTube takes 30%. We also have like a Patreon model where you can post exclusive contents for members that subscribe to you for a monthly fee that you choose. and we got all the other social media type stuff right now. So this year it's this year's going to be big. We went from a team of like 3 people when we launched, and now we have over 15, and we're still growing. So lots.
That is awesome.
Lots in the road work. Yeah.
No,
that is awesome. So, and also to let you know, the quality of the live video. So if you want to watch this live, go to flote.app/muddiedwatersmedia/live, or if you're on Flote, just go to Muddy Waters Media and you'll see that we're live. There's like an icon to watch our live video, and the quality of the stream on Flote is so much better than on because it's just a straight RTMP feed, so it's much better than on YouTube. It's way better than on Facebook. Just both the video and audio quality is at like 100 times better than Facebook, and probably 10 times better than on YouTube. So just definitely a better experience all the way around. So thanks for joining us. We're happy to have you on.
Yeah, thanks for having me. And just as far as the feed is concerned, or the going live, right now we don't compress anything. So which can be a problem. We're going to add actually options so that people can compress it if they have, worse internet speeds. But right now, it works pretty well when you do have great internet.
Yeah.
It is
from the very first live stream that we did on Flote, which I don't even remember when that was. That may have been, that may have been the one that we did exclusively on Flote.
Yeah, it's been like probably a year.
It's been well over a year, because it started before I ran for the nomination for vice president, and that was over a year ago now.
It was so we had done the Democratic debate, and we got pulled off YouTube. We got pulled off YouTube and Facebook for stealing the Democratic debate, and so we started doing them exclusively.
We started doing it on Flote. Yeah.
We were doing exclusive live streams on Flote.
That was last summer. That was 2 summers ago.
Oh wow, yeah. I think it was like September of 19,
it was like September of 19 that we started doing live streams on Flote, and then we figured out how to add it to the restream, so that way we could do all of them. And Flote is by far the best experience that anybody can possibly get.
Easily, and you won't get knocked off or fact checked. We could talk more about that later, because I'm still bitter. It's just a better experience all the way around. Go check out Flote. It's on the Google Play Store. It's on the Apple.
So we took ourselves off. Yeah, we actually took ourselves off of for the what is it? Apple Store?
iTunes?
The App Store.
Oh, okay.
And because right now we'd have to, like, our iOS app was actually the worst performing with us, because we just haven't been able to put a lot of time and resources into it. So we're seeing what happened with Parler, and we know all what's kind of coming down the lane with as far as big tech censorship and all this craziness. We just decided, hey, we're just gonna try to inform our iOS users to make a shortcut onto their home screen from their browser, which is basically still one click, and that just opens your browser to close.
It's the same thing. Yeah. Okay.
Versus doing this, or else we're going to spend like $100,000 on an app that they're just going to kick off anyway.
That they're going to kick off because you allow free speech. Okay, so they're not on the Apple, whatever, but they are on Google Play, and you can, and like he said, you can just create a shortcut to the browser, and it's the same interface.
I did that the day that they said something. I think they posted something on Instagram saying, this is how you do it. And I just immediately went and did it. And it works better than the app did.
Our app was definitely lacking then. So it's a much better experience. And then again, we're not going to have to go through all this drama. And there's so many, Apple makes you jump over so many hoops just to get your app listed on their store anyway. So, and plus we integrate crypto as well. So we're just, we would just be once we're continuing to grow, and once we got to a certain number, they're
going to kick you off. Yeah. They're going to have a major problem with you having a free platform. Yeah. So it's really cool. So if you guys that have all that Bitcoin you've been hodling, and you're looking for something to invest it in, we are that fertile soil for your Bitcoin.
King, somebody asked a question. They want to know what web hosting service Flote uses, and like I assume what he's saying is how and how much danger is it to being taken down? Because like that's what happened with Parler.
Yeah. So I will say, I don't like to say who it is directly yet, but we are actually moving off of, because of what Parler and our current hosting provider, they did release a public statement saying that they agree with it. So we're actually moving our service over right now. We're in a transition phase to get it over to a much better and reliable company that I know one of the owners actually for over 10 years. He's a Ron Paul guy. He's got servers all over the US. And we are going to we're going to be moving in that direction this month. Well, probably we'll probably finish it next month. But yeah, that's something where basically we once that happened, we all knew this was coming down the line. It's just, man, they're going so fast, it's hard to keep up, right? So so we basically we've shifted that kind of on our agenda to figure out where we're at risk and which providers we're on right now. If they've released any statements as far as free speech is bad, okay. And then, if anybody has released anything bad like that, or if they have any history of censorship, which we already know, then we're going back to other people or finding other resources and companies that believe in free speech, and even coming up with backup names on top of that, just in case. Because man, it's like a battleground out there. What's going on, people? It's
it's become a nightmare, and the problem is, like, even if you create your own platform, you're now looking, or thankfully you found it. You now are having to transition because you're not on AWS, but you're on another host that may decide they don't like free speech either, and so you got to be on one. So you got to make sure that even your hosting is in favor of freedom of speech, and your domain registrar and everything else. It's just crazy.
You also have to worry that Amazon could just buy that company at any moment.
Yeah, it's like just keeping your finger on the pulse. But I keep saying this now in a bunch of different podcasts, but it's like, right now is the time where there's basically people are like drawing a line in the sand, and it's like, do you agree with basic human rights and freedom of speech, or do you not? And so I think it's kind of good though. In a way, we're kind of ripping off the Band-Aid, and we're shedding some light on the commies, I guess, that have been hiding under their corporate shield for so long. And honestly, I want to do business with good people, and we should all want to do do business and give money to good people and support good companies. So I'd rather know. It's just kind of the same thing with like the whole civil rights thing. I want to know if someone's a racist whatever shop owner or whatever. So I just don't understand this whole thing with like government trying to hide that type of stuff. But because I don't want to give my money to those people. So now it's kind of like that's happening now in tech, and honestly, like, I appreciate it, and it's actually kind of forcing us to make decisions now that we would have just delayed till later. We were actually on AWS in the beginning, and then we transitioned over. Well, first because we knew that we didn't want to rely on big tech, but also because the reason why we were on there anyways, because I had not ad credits, but server credits from Boost VC, which is the startup accelerator we went through. So I used those up. So I thank you, Amazon. And then we moved over. Now we're gonna have to move again, unfortunately, but so be it. It'll be better, actually. It's gonna be much better. We'll have much more reliable service, and
That's good. That's good that you are that you're staying ahead of the curve on that. And I have, speaking of being ahead on the curve, I have no segue for this. We're now going to go into the Black Cold Brewed Caffeinated Rapid Fire segment, brought to you by blackbrews.com, spelled BLVCK, because nothing matters anymore. You can spell things however the hell you want now. So be sure to go to blackbrews.com, BLVCK, brews.com, and be sure to use code MW for free shipping. Matt?
So, newly minted Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer was giving a talk on the Senate floor about the impeachment trial that was starting. I think that started today. Yeah. We're going to say that started today. The impending impeachment trial of Trump. And he said that senators were going to have to.
The Senate will conduct a trial of the impeachment of Donald Trump. It will be a full trial. It will be a fair trial. But make no mistake, there will be a trial, and when that trial ends, senators will have to decide if they believe Donald John Trump incited the insurrection against the United States.
I think the thing I hate the most about Donald Trump is the erection.
The fact that he incited Chuck Schumer's erection, because the mental image of Chuck Schumer walking around at half-mast.
I didn't think specifically of him.
He was the one that said it. Like, that was a
No, I
Freudian
know.
slip.
Yeah.
You guys should get Blue Chew to be a sponsor.
After this, we probably can. Yeah. So that happened. And so now we're going to see this impeachment. And I personally think that they're not going to convict Trump because A, you need a 2/3 majority to do it. And B, the best thing that Joe Biden has going for him is that he'll probably be running against Donald Trump in 2024. And if you take that off the table, he can't just run on not being Trump.
Right.
So I don't see that changing.
So at the beginning of the Senate hearing today, Rand Paul called for a vote on who thought that the trial was constitutional. And the final count was 55 to 45. 45 Republicans voted, no, this is not constitutional. You need 17 to switch. You've got 5 that already did. So you would need 12 more. So instead of going for a full impeachment on him, they're trying to talk people into censuring him.
Which does that means nothing.
It means nothing. It's just they want to say he was the first to have this happen.
It's a strongly worded letter.
You're right.
Donald Trump. Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I was just gonna say it was just so funny during that day when this erection happened, and I was like, I'm too busy. Like I'm out. We're building Flote. We're doing a lot of things. We got Flote Fest coming up in a couple months too, and I was on calls all day, and I was getting updates from everybody that's on the calls is telling me, you know what's going on, and blah. And they're like, oh, now there's a guy on the Senate floor with a ox head or something like that. And I was like,
yes, yep.
What? I was like, it's probably best that I just don't pay attention to this, but crazy.
Yeah, it was. Go ahead.
I just started a new job a couple of weeks ago, like 3 weeks ago, and it was my second day there, and my phone just started buzzing nonstop with people messaging me, and I'm like, I'm not supposed to look at my phone, and then eventually I was like, I gotta see what's happening, and people were like, there's an erection happening in Washington D.C., and I was like, well, I know that I'm at my new job, but I'm also going to watch this.
Yeah,
I
someone tells you
personally,
there's erection on TV, you got to tune in.
Right, you got to watch.
Yeah, well, especially when it's on all the channels. I was originally going to take the day off until later that day. I was going to recap what happened with the certification that was happening in Congress. And then when I heard about the erection, I realized that that I was going to have to follow that because my inbox was blowing up about the erection, and so I had to make my official response to it. So speaking of my official response, I'm terrible for segues today. What?
So Libertarian vice presidential nominee Spike Cohen made a statement on, I believe, Facebook.
Yes.
And he ended up getting he posted this on Facebook, and he ends up getting a false rating from PolitiFact for saying John Brennan called libertarians terrorists.
Yeah, so I wrote, a silver lining to the Biden administration labeling libertarians terrorists is that the CIA will probably start giving us money and weapons now. And it's
a good one.
Which is, it's accurate. If we are labeled a terror group, if past is prologue, we're probably going to get some really sweet equipment and like those Toyota Hilux pickup trucks and stuff. Like, it was going to be a whole thing. And so PolitiFact was not happy at all. They actually contacted me and asked if I had proof of my joke being true. And I said, no, because it's a joke. And they said, okay, but what evidence do you have of your joke? And I said, the evidence is that I said it. It's a joke. And so in response, I said, this was a joke. I find it hilarious that you're fact checking it. So let me know when the fact check comes out so I can make fun of that too. And so it did come out. But I feel like I'm at least somewhat vindicated because they only rated it partially false because the CIA does give money and weapons to terrorists. So it was only partially
their statement.
No, that's mine. I'm not sure why it was only partial.
We're gonna get fact checked on this episode. I mean, so for anybody who doesn't know where this came, this was in response to the Brennan quote, right?
Yes.
Right, and to which I'm certain almost everybody who watches the show has seen or heard this quote already, but we're gonna read it anyway. John Brennan said, I know looking forward that the members of the Biden team who have been nominated or have been appointed are now moving in laser-like fashion to try to uncover as much as they can about what looks very similar to insurgency movements that we've seen overseas. These would be the people that they funded and given weapons to.
Yes, correct.
Where they germinate in different parts of a country and they gain strength, and it brings together an unholy alliance, frequently of religious extremists, authoritarians, fascists, bigots, racists, nativists, even libertarians. Because when you think of freedom fighters or just
violent terror groups,
violent terror groups, you think of the non-aggression principle following libertarians.
What's interesting is his description here, an unholy alliance of religious extremists, authoritarians, fascists, bigots, racists, nativists, even libertarians. That's Congress. He just described Congress. So I guess we already know they get money from the federal government, so it would make sense. So I'm still holding out hope that we're going to start getting some weapons. Unfortunately, they'll probably tell the radicals that they're to use it to fight against the Prags, and then they'll tell the Prags to fight against the radicals. So we'll probably have to agree to cross our fingers and agree to it or whatever. But yeah. So King, have you guys ever been fact checked on any of the major social media platforms?
Yes, I can't think of any offhand, but yeah, I mean, I feel like it happens at, your grandmother nowadays. It's crazy. And, I think Erin just got her what was it? She got I think maybe a 24-hour ban or something like that. Some sort of censorship on Facebook yesterday. And then she posted about it somehow and about the ban. And then they dinged her for that too. So there's a lot of
talking about your punishment.
Yeah, there's a lot of smart people in big tech just building the best AI that seems to be doing a great job. And so I just think we just need to, trust the plan and move forward. You know what I'm saying?
Just trust the plan. Slow the spread. 14 days to slow the spread.
It's like QAnon for big tech. Just trust the plan.
Yes. Where we get censored one, we get censored all.
but yeah, I mean, there's been times where I've seen with my own eyes people posting Flote's the domain on YouTube comments and that getting taken down in real time, also in Facebook Messenger and that being grayed out and can't send or won't send or whatever. Multiple people. We've definitely witnessed some sort of shadow banning on our Flote pages for certain things on Facebook. I'm assuming that we just use basically the big tech platforms to get our message out and try to recruit more people
to pull people in. Yeah, right.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I'm surprised that Matt, I mean, did you have your normal account reinstated now, or are you still
no?
Okay,
nope.
yeah.
No, my normal account. So my normal account, I lost that back in August or September, I think. I don't remember.
Was it that long? I thought it was October, November. Was it that long? It might have been that long ago. Honestly,
it was definitely before the election that I lost it.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, I definitely lost it before the election, and then I definitely don't. If anybody from Facebook is watching, I don't have another one.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
I don't have another one. But if I did,
No, you learned your lesson. You learned your lesson.
did.
You're
I
not
learned my
welcome there. You
lesson.
never came back. Yeah.
Right, never came back. And if I did come
Never came
back, and I was using the Facebook app this weekend, I still don't have access.
Yeah.
Because when they logged everybody out, and then some people still couldn't get in. I am one of the people who can't get in. Or I would be one of the people who can't.
If you had an
who can't
account,
get
which
in.
you absolutely do not.
Which I do not.
Listen, I'm glad that they removed you from Facebook because I was sick and tired of seeing such malicious propaganda that you were spreading, like pictures of your food that your girlfriend cooked for you and Kava and Sarah's boys and other similar agitprop and terrorism.
Right.
And hate speech.
The super sappy, look how great my relationship is posts.
It was too much. They said enough of that.
Much. You are pushing something that we don't push here at Facebook, and that's a good life.
Speaking, no good lives here. Speaking of pushing, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez skipped the inauguration because Republicans give her the old heebie-jeebies, Matt.
Yeah, she said that Republicans make her nervous, and then she said, man, I really should have put this in the notes. Somebody tried to show up with a gun. One of the Republican senators tried to bring a gun to the House floor, and she said, if somebody is showing up here with a gun, that means the rest of us are in danger, showing that she doesn't understand
how guns work.
How guns work. But
she's gonna wait till she hears about the Capitol Police. She's gonna be horrified.
Yeah.
But so she ended up not showing up to the to the inauguration, which many of the Democrats were upset about because it was supposed to be about unity. And look, the Democrats are behind Biden, and she, the poster child of the socialist left, did not show up.
I saw one meme after it happened, and it was like, "Oh, this sure looks like a nice party for someone that owes me $2,000."
I like that. I like that.
She did immediately follow up saying that Republicans made her nervous by saying she wanted to start re-education camps for people that she deems white supremacists.
Oh, that definitely won't end poorly. So at a town hall on this past Friday, AOC said that the House Subcommittee on Civil Rights she serves on has held hearings over the prior 2 years on white supremacy and said that there are programs to, quote unquote, de-radicalize the adherents of white supremacy. Keep in mind, if you're watching this, Facebook probably thinks you're a white supremacist, even if you're not white.
Yes.
Especially if you're not white.
Especially if you're not white. She said that there is a spectrum of radicalization that ranges from sympathizers to conspiracy theorists to neo-Nazis. I'm not sure if that's the full spectrum.
That's quite a spectrum.
It is quite a spectrum. Such radical ideology could lead to violence and domestic terrorism. Like going door to door to grab people and put them in camps.
That would be an accurate example of that. So during the same appearance, she let everyone know where she stood on free speech by saying that it's time to, quote, figure out how we rein in our media environment so that you can't just spew what she considers to be disinformation. So if you were on Facebook today or Twitter or certainly anything that isn't Flote, because this wouldn't happen on Flote, if you were on some other social media platform and you thought, goodness, it's too free here, and I'm hearing too many opinions, and I'm not seeing enough fact checks and arbitrary bannings, well, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez has some fantastic news for you folks.
And I would advise AOC, just in case she gets banned off of Facebook, that here's a shameless Flote plug. You can download, first of all, it takes 2 seconds to join flote.com. Second, you can download your Facebook data. I don't think we had this built when you got banned, but you can download your Facebook data, your posts, pictures, and your videos, all those cherished moments with your loved ones and all those memes. And you can upload it to your Flote account. So that's a pretty cool feature that we rolled out a couple months ago. And I hope
That's
AOC,
awesome.
follows suit of many others and joins Flote. And she can
And
speak her mind there.
She will immediately reach out to you to ban us.
Everyone else, she'll say, "This is great." I noticed that there's some people here who are saying some things I really do not like. So if you could do me a solid and kick off everyone else, that would really help. But no, she's welcome. She's welcome to join. Everyone's welcome to join. I'm surprised Trump didn't set up an account there yet, so he could get his stuff out there.
What is he doing now? Is he like newsletters or emailers, or what is he doing?
I haven't got so I was somehow I ended up on a Trump email list, or just maybe it was a GOP email list. I'm not 100% certain. I just get a lot of spam. But I haven't gotten anything from him. I heard that he did start an office of the former president here in Florida. Where that is where he's going to be conducting his official business as the former president.
Can we just all create these offices out of nowhere? Can I just create the office of future vice lord or something like that? I don't know.
Yeah, no, at this point, that would have every bit as much authority as the office that Trump just created. There is no such thing as an office of former president. He just made it. And what I love is that, he just made a seal. What he actually did was he took the presidential seal, but it just says former under it. And and what I love about it is the one that I saw, it was in grayscale, meaning that they didn't get either they didn't get a color printer or they forgot to fill they just have the black cartridge full, and which either is equally plausible with him. So we have that to look for. He's running in 2024. There's no way he's doing everything you would do. His ego won't let him not run. And it will be, if you thought 2016, watching him destroy the GOP competition then was funny, wait till you watch him destroy the whole party. That'll be pretty interesting. So Kingsley, we have, this is a perfect example of why Flote is important and why your platform is important, because according to one of the more prominent members of the party that's in charge of Congress right now, the problem with media and social media right now is that they aren't doing enough to fact check and ban people and stop them from being able to create groups and hyper focus on every single thing they put out. That the problem is they're not doing enough of that. They need to be kicking more people off of social media and basically depersoning them in this social media driven world that we live in now. Talk to us about, and we may have started on this, but what was it originally that led you to want to do this in the first place?
Yeah. So I was actually developing a privacy wallet. We actually got some pre-seed funding to develop a privacy wallet that was focused on for crypto, for those focused on Monero, Zcash, and other privacy protocols. But then my wife and I, we started developing some friendships with content creators that are on YouTube. A lot of people that we all know and love, and and building up their YouTube audience since the Ron Paul days or even before that. Getting to 100,000 subscribers, 250,000 subscribers, 500,000 subscribers, even 1 million subscribers. And, starting to make an income from the YouTube ads and super chats, and they're following there. And they're just really, they're getting excited about what was going on. And then all of a sudden, boom, deplatform, demonetize, strike one, strike two, no strikes, but you're out. And we were like, whoa, okay, this is pretty crazy what's going on. And just as a former YouTube fan myself, and a fan of just, Google for research and all these big tech platforms that we've known and loved for years up until recently, for the most part. I just started noticing a lot of these independent journalists that I've been following for years, they were starting to change words that they had to say in order to cover current events that CNN, MSNBC, the mainstream media, Fox News, You know, they didn't have to change the words that they had to say. And it just how like strange and Orwellian that is. I mean, this is like affecting, you know, human psychology and behavior. And in 2018, I actually tried to move off of all the big tech platforms to more like decentralized platforms, or at least like small tech platforms. And I just noticed that they weren't quite there yet. And then once I recognized that these things were happening to content creators, I realized that there was, not only was it the right thing to do to support free speech, but let's create a platform where also they can earn money in crypto and you know, the future of money right now. And so we developed Flote for that reason, to really, you know, a big focus is to help content creators, because they are the ones that have these larger communities on the social networks, but really just so everyone can still have a voice. And it's not anything that crazy. I mean, we're really just turning the clock back about 5 years to what, you know, YouTube and Facebook for the most part stood for.
What they were supposed to be. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And you know, the ethos of the internet is supposed to be just, you know, human communication, uncensorable. And so here we are, and it's, you know, it's really terrifying with like what's happening, but there's a business opportunity. I just hope, you know, in some ways, it's, before I used to kind of curse, you know, at every time I would hear about a headline of Facebook censoring people or YouTube doing this, doing that. But now it's like, hey, they just keep shooting themselves in the foot. Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
okay, go for it. Like, piss off
Yeah.
PewDiePie some more, you know, whatever you got to do. Because it just makes our, you know, makes our mission statement or what we're doing, our goal, just so more obvious to so many more people. And as far as like the fact checking thing, you know, we do have fact checkers actually on our site, but we democratize the fact checking to leave it up to the individual to look into the facts themselves, which is crazy, I know, but that's, you know, that's how we feel is the most efficient way to move forward, instead of hiring some sort of experts that lie to you in their own, you know, on their own website and just bullshit the facts. You know, we leave it up to you to do your own research, as many of us have done in the past and are doing now and will continue to do in the future. And if you can't handle that, then I would suggest staying on Twitter. I would suggest staying on Facebook, and, you know, have fun.
So we've got over on Flote.app. We've had a bunch of people asking questions, but Billy Pierce from Texas, Billy Pierce for Texas, he said that he would really love to hear your opinions on Section 230 and how actual lawsuit might look if 230 is stricken or weakened.
Yeah, I don't know. Obviously, like we're following that, but I don't trust. You know, 230, it kind of seems like a good thing. At least it says, you know, I hate all government regulations, but sometimes you need better government regulations to deal with other government regulations that they already have in the past. And that's kind of what 230 is a bit.
Right.
So I'm, you know, if they just take away 230, it can put us in jeopardy as far as, you know, our operations and every other social media or social platform or any type of, you know, form. So I don't think that that's very, you know, enforceable. It seems kind of, you know, I don't know how you would do that on the internet today. But I mean, good luck with that if they try to do that. But so I don't think they'll do that. I think what they'll probably do is they'll probably try to reform it in some, you know, worse way for the small guys, and, you know, how regulations go. They always benefit the big guys. So you know, they'll probably be like, oh, well, if your, you know, platform has fact checkers and this and that and blah blah blah, then you can't be sued, or some, you know, something stupid like that. We'll see though. I hope they don't do anything.
Right. Yeah. No. Absolutely. So many people for most of Trump's presidency anyway, have been saying we need to get rid of Section 230. You know, we need to get rid of Section 230. And I always said to him, I was like, how bad do you think social media and the internet will be if they get rid of Section 230? These people will then be liable for the things that you say. I've seen some of the dumb stuff you put on Facebook and some of the dumb stuff you put on Twitter. They'll be liable for it.
Yeah.
Everybody will get kicked off.
And it will hurt Flote much more than Facebook, because Facebook has no problem with censoring everything. It'll become dog picture and food picture book and that's pretty much it. And even then, like, you'll have to verify that the dog came from a no-kill shelter and that the food is vegan, gluten-free, and fair trade, or else they won't let you post that. They'll have that in place, and they have an army of attorneys to fight the liability claims in court. The last thing you want, and I've gotten into this with so many libertarians who don't understand what Section 230 is. Section 230 is a regulation that really just it's really just a clarification more than a regulation. It says that when someone does something illegal on the internet, they are responsible for it. Not the platform they did it on, not the host that it was hosted on, not the owner of the registrar for the domain that they use to have the website that points to the website. None of that. It is the person, the people that were involved in it that are liable. If you remove that protection, or really just that clarification that the person who did it is responsible for it, then Flote's not going to be able to exist in its current form. It'll either have to become incredibly punitive for anything that isn't like, I don't know how you'd be able to function. Anything that could potentially cause a lawsuit or lead to a criminal action, you would have to censor. I would imagine a smaller platform would have to just not exist. It would have to go out of business to avoid liability. So Section 230 is not the answer. The answer is to get rid of all of the various regulations that are not just on the internet, but in business in general, that create such a barrier for people that are trying to grow a business, and give so much weighting towards the established companies who are trying to, protect their market share. When you deregulate the business environment in general, that'll make it easier for a Flote and other things to be able to thrive without having to already be these established multi-billion-dollar platforms. But the biggest thing we can do is what we can do, which is use Flote, use these apps and these social media platforms that do respect your privacy and do respect your autonomy. Now, Kingsley, what I like about your platform is that, unlike most other social media platforms, or pretty much all the other ones I know of, all the other platforms, they're geared towards advertisers, whereas your platform is actually geared where it should be, towards creators and the people who want to see that. Can you talk to us a little bit about that difference between a platform where, you are where the person using is the product, and a platform that actually encourages creation and community?
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, DuckDuckGo put out a great blog post. It's probably been like a year, almost 2 years. And it talks about the difference of the DuckDuckGo model versus the big tech model, and how, big tech, Facebook, Google, all these companies are creating these social profiles of you that they're selling to advertisers. But what DuckDuckGo, what they found out is actually that keyword-based advertising is much more efficient and much better for the end user. So that they can see, we're going to support more ads going forward. But the cool thing about what we're doing is we have two sets of ads. We have network ads, which we make money off of. That could be like a sidebar ad, a banner ad, or even an in-post feed ad, which we were kind of toying with right now. But it's based off of keywords that you're searching for. So we're not like gathering this whole thing, and taking every single little bit that you've posted on Flote and other sites like Facebook and Google, where they track everywhere that you're going, and they make this model of you, which a lot of times is wrong. And that's what that was DuckDuckGo's whole thing, is that a lot of times, you may be searching for flowers for your grandmother's 80th birthday, but that doesn't say much about you actually. And every day. Yeah. So, and what we're doing is actually, we're again with cryptocurrency, which is the future of money. We are creating where we're connecting the advertiser to the user. Anyone that wants to monetize their profile will be able to, whether it's audio, video, even in posts. So if you do want to monetize your content in your community, which there's no problem with that. I mean, there's no problem with showing something that. So some people, I was actually surprised that a lot of people, they don't mind seeing ads, because if they're targeted ads, then it's something that they're looking for, which I'm that type of person too. It pisses us off when we see these, pisses us off when they listen to our phones, and you're talking about the Bahamas, and all of a sudden you see this, this thing to take a cruise or a flight.
That's what bothers us. Yep.
Yeah. So it's just a matter of, like, again, we don't have to, first of all, connecting advertiser to user, so the user can generate, or the content creator can generate 100% of that advertisement. We stand out of the way as a middleman, which we could do with cryptocurrency, which is so exciting. But also, again, rewinding the clock a bit and just saying, hey, we're not in it to like spy and do all this craziness and censor people. We just want to do it to be, instead of extracting value from the user, we want to create value for the user. And that's really, what we're doing and what we're building.
Well, that's awesome, man.
We had somebody ask if you guys are going to have, hang on. They went on a comment spree. Blue check marks for accounts, but not probably not blue check marks.
Yeah. Yes, we actually are. So, but here's the way that we're going to do it that I think is really cool and different. So Keybase, have you guys heard of Keybase?
Yeah.
It's like an encrypted chat service. Mm-hmm. So what
Yep,
Keybase did is they made it so that you can link. So we all have our social identities right now, right? And some of them are being taken away from us on day-by-day basis, like Matt and many others. But we have, our Facebook, our Twitter, our, Reddit, or whatever, GitHub if you're a developer. So we all have these things. So what Keybase did is they made it so that you can link your Keybase account to multiple other accounts and verify those accounts, so that when I'm talking to this Keybase user, I know that I know that this is their Twitter account and all this. So then I can basically have a better judgment of that I'm talking to this Keybase user. And this is really important, especially when we talk about cryptocurrency and payments, because you want to know if you're transacting with someone that is the person that you are transacting with. We have some friends and that actually just got scammed, unfortunately, because of Aaron's had an impersonator, and they thought there was a really good impersonator. They thought that what it was just bullshit story, but anyway, so that's terrible. But where Twitter, the blue check mark, it became this, this first of all is like only celebrities and this and that. And it's still pretty much that. You have to have, but at the end of the day, it's just a better verification of your online Twitter identity. So why is it this like, esteemed thing? Oh, I got a blue check mark. It shouldn't even be like that. It should be, anybody should be able to have a blue check mark as long as they perform certain functions to verify their identity. So we're going to do the same thing. We're copying what Keybase is doing, where you'll be able to verify with your other social accounts, and we'll try to include as many as we can so that you'll be able to verify to your Flote account. And then also one idea that I am toying with, because I personally as a company don't want to be involved with getting, Twitter typically or even Facebook, they want your government ID and all this craziness. We're trying to make ID where you can have an ID that's not tied to government. But what we may do is that where we have there's tons of third-party providers out there now, and we can just link up their API so that if you did want to verify your government identity and say you have a business or you're a certain personality on Flote, then you can send your ID to them, and then we can just use an API process to like verify that, okay, they gave you the check mark, and then it goes to Flote. So those are some of the things that we're working on, really just taking the models that exist today, but making them better and more transparent, and we feel better for the end user.
That's awesome. That is awesome, man. So, I mean, this is the time, like you said, we saw this coming. I don't think any of us, or I certainly didn't think it would be happening this quickly and rapidly. But it is obvious that big tech is moving towards in a frightening pace to curate what people think. And it's one thing. So if I were to make a social media platform and I said, okay, listen, if you advocate for genocide, you're gone. Or if you advocate for pedophilia, you're gone. Like, it's one thing to have a certain set of standards. And I think that that's where Facebook and Twitter and these other ones started, was you can't go on there and be like, yeah, let's round up all of this group and murder them or something like that. But at some point it turned into, well, we don't think this is true, so you shouldn't be able to say that either. And when people say this, there are bad people who agree with that. Not everyone who agrees with it is bad, but there are certainly some bad people who agree with that. So you can't say that either. And we didn't like who won the 2016 election, so we're certainly not going to ever let that happen on our social media again. And it all of a sudden turned into, we're going to decide the outcome of what people believe by molding what people are and are not allowed to say on our increasingly dominant platforms. And I actually I forget what was the name of the person I talked to on Flote that we talked on your podcast like 2 days before the election. Yeah, Richard. And we talked about the whole dopamine rush effect that is in social media. Social media is gamed in the same way. It's kind of a much more extreme version of a slot machine where you get these little mini rushes and it keeps you at it and you lose track of what time it is. You lose track of what you're doing. The difference is imagine a slot machine that always gave you more money than you put in. That's essentially what Facebook and Twitter and these other social media are. You're not paying anything up front except your time, and you're getting back this reward of people validating you, people liking you, people heart reacting you, people talking to you, people sharing your content. And what happens is your brain gets addicted to that. You know, that's why when a lot of people, when they're away from their social media, for a long period of time because of like an internet outage or something, they get depressed because they've been so wired to need that dopamine rush. And that puts Facebook and Twitter and YouTube and the rest of them in a position now of saying, yeah, you lose that if you don't do what we say. If you want to be able to continue getting that good feeling without having to go outside, then you got to say the things the way we want you to say. You have to avoid opinions we don't want you to say. And they're really molding people, you know, getting them hooked on the product and then, you know, molding people's opinion. And I think it's great that you're doing the opposite, that you're saying, no, you should be able to engage in this without having us tell you what to say. Are there any things that can or cannot be said on your platform that, you know, are deal breakers, or, you know, what are those types of things?
Yeah, so we have to follow U.S. law because we are a U.S. based company.
Right.
But you know, we might have to change that soon depending on what's coming with the new administration. But yeah, I mean, we have a basic set of rules: no spam, no doxing, no malware, no username squatting. We're going to be updating these rules too here just to explain them a little better. But we want it to be as, you know, the issue right now too with big tech is because they have these community guidelines, right? And they're just so vague. And then even if they do kick you off, you know, our other friend Josh, he just got kicked off again for his Facebook. Now it's completely disabled. And it's like, you know, they don't even tell you what rule you broke of theirs. We have so many stories of that, from, you know, 250,000 subscribers on YouTube, you know, taken away, boom, like that. And they don't tell you anything. So we just want to be as, you know, transparent. And even if we do kick you off, we're going to let you know what happened here. And it's because it's going to, you know, stem from, you know, from these 7 rules. Or, you know, like I said, we're just going to basically go out and make these as, you know, plain language as possible, no legalese. And yeah, I mean, again, you know, especially like when it comes to, IP, and then also, you know, like threats of violence or harassment. I mean, in my opinion, you know, again, we you know, go by our legal advice to deal with things as they come. But I mean, it's just interesting. When it comes to, like, you say, like a threat or something like that. I mean, if you're going to get the authorities involved with all this, well, then it might be a bit easier to, you know, to actually have that information public for a bit. And so whoever needs to deal with it can deal with it. But, but it's, you know, it's just interesting times right now and things are changing.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for Matt. Did you have any other questions?
We had somebody on Flote that said that Kingsley was really hot and wants your number.
Well, I'm married, but go ahead and slide into my PMs, my private messages on Flote, which are 256-bit encrypted. And that's another thing that we had, you know, we had it on Flote, is so that, you know, we want to support encrypted messaging. We're even looking into ways where we can integrate potentially. It's not a promise, but this is something that I would really like, because our big focus too of us is being interoperable. So right now you can attach your Twitter account to your Flote profile. So when you post to Flote, it'll auto post to Twitter. Like I mentioned earlier, you can download your Facebook data and upload it to Flote. We're going to be adding ways where you can actually, if you upload a video and post it on Flote, it can go to library and to YouTube at the same time. We want to make it so live streaming, you can just go to our app and you can almost have a restream feature that's built in, so that you can cast to many places at the same time, all simultaneously.
That's
awesome. That's awesome.
Where was I going with
actually
that?
very
What were we talking about?
No. What that was your segue out of someone saying they wanted to hit up your DMs.
Oh, right,
so,
yeah. So sorry, I was gonna say that we're
in all
looking
fairness, it was your wife that was trying to hit up your DMs.
Oh, okay, that's good.
But yeah, so like with messages, for instance, like we're looking into ways where we can have the float encrypted messaging, but also we can have it. Do you remember back in the day where we had like MSN Messenger and AOL and Yahoo and IRC and all these other ones, and then they had like apps like Trilio and other ones that put them all in a nice format where you can just interact with one person in one app.
Yeah.
So we're looking into doing that on Float with Signal and Telegram right now, so we can integrate those two in your Float. So we just want to be like a central hub for communication and broadcasting your message, and also payments too. And I think over time, I mean, right now, this is what I tell a lot of people, but right now is the opportunity to gain 100 million users, which is less than 5% of Facebook's user base in the next 5 years. And I think it's completely possible for us and a bunch of other platforms. I think there's going to be a splintering of different communities that come out, and we just want to be one of the communities that helps connect these different platforms, both old big tech and kind of this small tech, new tech, and be the kind of the gateway for people to use.
That's awesome, man.
That's awesome. Yeah, no, that's awesome.
That is really, really cool. So, Kings, thank you so much for coming on. And I give you one more chance to give your elevator pitch for Flote. If people want to find out more, what's the best way to do that? What's the best way for them to find out more about Flote?
Yeah, I mean, just join Floats. I'm King on there, float.app/King. Also, my wife is great at communicating and helping people get onboarded to Float. So she's Erin. There's tons of videos out there, and I've been a libertarian. Now I call myself a voluntarist, but I've been a libertarian since the Ron Paul days. Back in I think 27, I turned libertarian. Really think that what we're doing is important, along with just the movement for free speech, to keep free speech on the internet. Again, like it's a simple equation, really. The more users these platforms like Flote get, the more money that we can potentially get from investors to build the platform that we all want. And we're actually going to be launching a crowdfunding campaign this year that we can actually have non-accredited investors to invest in Flote. So we're really excited about that. But now's the time. I mean, there's such a huge opportunity, and also now's the time to stand up and do what's right. So I have the honor of having a platform out there that I feel is really doing the right thing and is on the right trajectory. And I think now it really is terrifying, what I believe that they're doing with both just the manipulation of the media, and now with that coming into social media. And so I think it's now's the time to really support good people doing good things, and I feel that we're one of those companies, and along with all you guys as well. And so we need to connect, and we need to create communities both online and in the real world, and Flote is one of those places. And we're also going to be doing Flote Fest in Texas.
Tell us about that.
Yeah. So March 8th through the 11th is Flote Fest, which is our first kind of in real, Flote branded events. We've done Anarcho Vegas in the past. We were going to do Anarcho Vegas and Crypto Vegas last year, but Corona happens. And so now we're doing, it's about 90 minutes northeast of Austin in Gauss, Texas, I think you pronounce it. It's on over 100 acres of farmland. It's going to be a great time. We're also Anarchapulco streaming partner. And there may be some other big announcements in regards to that, with some big names showing up at Flote Fest. But it's a camping event, free to vend. It's going to be super cheap. I think it's at flotefest.com right now. And check it out. It's a great website that we just launched, our team launched. Has all the information there. It's cheap. We're charging by car. It's free to vend. So, it's kind of like I'm not sure if you guys have been to Pork Fest, but kind of like a Pork Fest or a Jackalope Fest type of vibe. Camping, bring your RV, show up with nothing. There's accommodations like 15, 20 minutes away as well. But yeah, we're really excited about that. We have some really big announcements that are planned in the next couple of weeks.
That's awesome. And we were on Flote, God, a year and a half ago.
Almost 2 years.
Are you trying to get a free ticket? Is that what you're...
No, but yes. I mean,
We're not trying to get a free ticket.
Yeah, I was just going to give you guys props, but I'll take that too.
Yeah, I mean, I'll take a ticket. So.
But yeah, we were early adopters of Flote, and it immediately became one of our favorite social media sites.
Yeah, definitely.
And just the sheer fact that we're not getting kicked off makes it just much more promising.
That much more popular with us. Yeah.
Yeah. Really love that one. And I know Spike just opened up his personal over there.
Yep.
Are you just Spike Cohen over there? Or are you literally?
Yeah. Flote.app/Spike Cohen. And we're also flote.app/Muddy Waters Media for Muddy Waters. And yeah, everyone go to Flote and leave everything else, and we can go and be free.
Right.
So, folks, thanks so much. And King, thanks so much for coming on. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, we really appreciate
Thanks for
you coming
having me.
on. Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. So,
hopefully,
so folks, we're going to do a brief intermission, and then we'll be right back. And when we get back, we will be doing the personal injury attorney, Chris Reynolds, attorney at law, anchor call-in moment. So be sure to stay tuned for that.
Bonjour à tous. Hello, everyone. Our parents and grandparents built this country. They raised us, and they deserve so much better. That's ridiculous. Mais voyons. That's ridiculous. J'étais tellement étonné. That's ridiculous. Mais voyons. That's ridiculous. La misinformation. I was absolutely floored to see a federal party leader use insinuations and carefully coded questions, and of course stand there innocently and say, oh, I was just asking questions. That's ridiculous. Mais voyons qu'on s'aligne à notre façon. La misinformation. Monsieur Blanchet, t'es con.
Okay.
Monsieur Blanchet, t'es con. Yeah. That's ridiculous. Mais voyons. That's ridiculous. J'étais tellement étonné. That's ridiculous. Mais voyons. That's ridiculous. La misinformation. Last week, what happens when leaders don't take care of the words they do, and particularly this week, when we just lived through last week, that kind of political pandering to the worst elements and to fears and anxieties has no place in Canada, and all of us need to stand up strongly to push back against that anywhere it happens in this country. Monsieur Blanchet, t'es con.
Okay.
Monsieur Blanchet, t'es con. Yeah. That's ridiculous. Mais voyons. That's ridiculous. J'étais tellement étonné. That's ridiculous. Mais voyons. That's ridiculous. La misinformation.
Hey, that's not supposed to look like that. Hey, everybody. We're back. But also, I don't know why Matt looks like that.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back.
Hi. I'm going to fix this while Matt talks.
Welcome back. How about that? Man, Kingsley was amazing. He was great.
Yeah, King is
like
fantastic.
I didn't doubt he would be, but that was, and we were all like mildly different shades of brunette and or blonde. Like it was like a spectrum.
We were the whole brunette spectrum. I don't know why your thing's doing that.
But yeah, for anybody who isn't on Flote, flote.app / Muddied Waters Media, you can find us, and check out flotefest.com, where you can get information on Flote Fest, which is coming up March 8th. Super excited about the event, especially, if our good friends over at Flote
give us tickets, yeah, because we're
tickets,
early
yeah.
adopters.
Give us tickets.
We're early adopters, Matt.
We're early adopters, we're early adopters, and if we get the little float symbol next to our name,
yeah, we're gonna get a blue float mark or whatever they're gonna call it.
Whatever they're gonna use it, yeah.
Well, folks, thanks again for coming back after our brief intermission. We are now on that magical thing called the personal injury attorney, Chris Reynolds, attorney at law, anchor call-in moment, where you go to our anchor, which is at anchor.fm/muddied waters, and you can leave messages there by pressing the leave a message button. You can also you can also make donations to us there if you want to give us some money. You don't have to. It's not required for us to play your message, but we will like you more if you give us money. So there is that. So here is our first question from Raw Liberty Media.
Hey Matt, hey Mike, this is Jake Johnson from Raw Liberty Media for the anchor call and moment. I just wanted to see what your guys' opinion was on Joe Biden's new tax deal he's working out. I think that's all taken for $1.9 trillion. Didn't know what you guys thought about that.
I couldn't understand what he was saying.
So I think what he was saying was that Joe Biden, something about $4.9 trillion, but I'm going to
look up Joe Biden $4.9 trillion because
it may have been $1.9 trillion, which is the stimulus package that he's proposed.
Oh, yeah, because nothing's coming up for $4 trillion. Oh yeah, 1.9. Right. So assuming that you asked about the stimulus deal, it's garbage. The vast majority of the money is going to big business and big government agencies. That little of it's going to us, and it's going to be used as an excuse to keep us shut down indefinitely. So it's terrible. Matt?
Right. Can't really say anything else. Yeah. I mean,
Matt hates it.
Yeah, I hate it. I think, and it's $10,000 off student loans that he's been promising, but this is the man that wrote the bill that made it so you can't claim them on your bankruptcies, and that's part of the reason that they skyrocketed in cost over the years. And he is now saying, well, I'm going to give you 10,000 of that money back, even though I said you couldn't claim it on your bankruptcy.
Yep. And that's an
expensive.
Yeah, and that's also an unfunded mandate. That's actually not funded in this bill, so that's going to be up to future Congresses to decide how to pay that off. So that'll be fun. So here is our next question from Josh, and I think this is actually a two-parter.
Hey, Matt, Spike. A bunch of us, not even just Sarah, got shadow banned today. This is Josh McCose. I also got shadow banned. I'm no longer able to use Messenger. So, like you're saying, all the super fans, we're getting shadow banned, and it's at least it's making me less distracted from what I'm supposed to be doing. But fuck Zuck.
So it looks like Joshua's back now.
So I know that I saw him over on YouTube and I saw him on Flote. I don't know if he was on Facebook or not. But yeah, a lot of people have been getting not really shadow banned, but complex entity banned or whatever they're calling it over there now.
Oh, yeah. To be able to actually do things.
Right. And I know that a lot of people who watch this show have had that happen. I don't know if there's a correlation. It wouldn't surprise me, but at the same time, I don't know. But I do agree with the obscenity suck.
Yes. And I think this is probably a corollary to that because it's just it's 8 seconds. Here we go.
Hey, Matt, guess what? Alaska Bush Company, that's the strip club here.
Gonna Google that now too.
Yeah. Sure. Okay.
Wow, he's right. The Great Alaskan Bush Company is a nude showroom
in Alaska.
And it's a nude showroom and juice bar.
Oh.
They do not serve alcohol there. You can get some refreshing juice. What?
Could you imagine like when you go to a juice bar, it's expensive. Could you imagine it at a strip club?
I mean, you kind of have to be drunk or on something for continuing to throw money at your own sexual frustration making
Yes.
sense. I'm trying to picture staying in that mindset and being like, I'd like another 5 alive. Like it. It's like,
Can you add some protein to that?
yeah. Can it yeah. Oh man. Yeah, can you add some almond powder to that? Oh, that's funny. That is funny. Here's one from Billy Pierce, who I am a huge fan of. He's down in Texas. He ran for theft collector, did very well in that race, and is really, really good at messaging liberty. So here's one for Billy Pierce.
Howdy, fellers. Billy Pierce from Houston, Texas here. Hey, right now, a lot of us at the local and state Libertarian Party levels are working very hard to try to be an accommodating, welcome place for all of the folks in America who find themselves politically homeless or political orphans right now. And there are a lot of them. But in true libertarian fashion, we are tripping over our own feet and arguing internally, often in full public view of everybody else. So not a good look. So would you two fine gentlemen care to offer a little advice for those of us who are trying to work to meet people where they are, find common ground, find things we can agree on, and work with people on the things that we agree on without getting bogged down on the things we might disagree on, and how to do that in the political environment with other stubborn, ferocious, passionate libertarians?
That's a great question. Matt, you are a member of the Libertarian National Party and have been in more than one state affiliate. What are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I've been a member of 2 separate state affiliates and the National Party. So a big reason that, yes, there's a lot of people who feel politically homeless right now. There's, a lot of Republicans feel that they didn't have the Republican Party didn't have Trump's back, and now they want to leave, and they're looking at the Libertarian Party. And I want everybody to look at the Libertarian Party, because I think that a lot of the people who feel politically homeless actually probably are libertarians, but they just don't realize it yet.
Right.
The question is whether or not you can leave behind the need for government to enforce their will on people or not. For anybody who says that they can, I want them to come. Now, as for the infighting inside the party, a lot of that is communication. A lot of that is we have different definitions for words. There was a show that we did back during the election, and you were talking about the libertarian left and the libertarian right, and capitalism was one that both sides see differently. The libertarian right sees it free market capitalism, like a laissez-faire, and the left sees it as crony capitalism. Mm-hmm. That's the way that I've always described it anyway, is crony capitalism. And
basically, yeah.
Right. And that is where a lot of the division comes from. So nailing down the terms, figuring out how to talk to each other in a civil way, and understanding what each in a civil way. That's a big portion of that.
A civil way, yes.
A civil way, but figuring out how to talk to each other in a civil way, and then understanding where each other are coming from when talking about the different terms will be able to bring a lot of the party together.
Yep, I agree. I think some of it is definitional, like Matt was talking about with capitalism or with free markets, or even just the ideas of left and right. But there are some things that libertarians of different stripes disagree on. Left libertarians, right libertarians, minarchists, anarchists. There are some things we just straight up disagree on. Even if we agree to the terms, we still disagree, how we should proceed. What we all agree on is that we are headed at light speed the wrong way. If we recognize that we're headed the wrong way, that we need to make a completely 180 turn and head this way for quite some time, I feel like that is a far better use of our time for us to work together and advocate for pushing that way, as opposed to letting our disagreements over what our hypothetical society that's never going to come about until we actually can come together and dismantle what's being built, continuously being built right now. Until we do that, it's useless for us to even bother talking about it. So I just have no interest in doing that arguing. I'm happy to do a debate with someone, but that's completely different than continuously fighting and refusing to work with people that you disagree with things on. Going back to Billy's question about bringing people in, the politically homeless, we need to meet them where they are in what they agree with us on. So many of the people that might be coming in from the Republican Party, they want a smaller government, they want lower taxes, they want less regulation, or at least less regulation on the things they care about. They want their gun rights respected. So we can agree with them on that. The more they come into the party and the more we can coalition with them, the more we have a position to explain why we also support open migration, or at least streamlined immigration, why we support ending police brutality and ending the war on drugs. Some of them may already agree with that. Why we, support ending the wars and bringing the troops home. Some of them may support that already. The things that we disagree on, the things that they're still authoritarian on, we can meet them where they are and influence them as to why libertarianism works. Our ideas are better than theirs. So if we're on an equal playing field where we can talk to each other over time, we can influence them with our ideas. They're not going to convince us to be authoritarians, but we can convince them to be libertarians. That's never going to happen if we go, wait a second. Are you telling me you don't agree at least like 95% with our platform right now? Well, then get out of here. It doesn't work that way.
Right.
Get out. So that's what we have to do. It doesn't mean that we elect them to lead us. It just means we welcome them in. Come, join us. Find out what we're about. Let's help us with this campaign. And while they're watching the person campaign on property rights and a consistent take on libertarianism, and they're constructively and proactively involved in it, they can go, oh wow, that makes sense. Yeah, I guess I never looked at it that way. That's probably how they got where they are right now, is by the influence of those around them. So let's be the new people around them. So here is the next question. This one is a political question, totally different than these other questions. A political question from Alex
totally
Boyer.
Different from all of last week.
Oh, that's why you put that. It's an actual political. Okay, all right, cool. From Alex Boyer.
Hello. Alex from Virginia calling in on the Chris Reynolds personal injury attorney law inker call-in line. I have a question today for the guy on left and Spike Cohen. And last week, the guy on left said he wished that the questions would stay political in nature. And, well, I can't speak for everyone else leaving questions, but I will abide by that. So, wish granted. Which brings me to the topic of today's question, Bigfoot forums. On the Bigfoot forums, there's a few different camps of what people believe Bigfoot actually is. Some believe that he is a hominid, some sort of missing link between people and apes. Others believe that he's just a folklore myth type deal. And some think that he is an interdimensional warrior who has come here to protect the planet. What do you guys think? Thank you.
I think he's just Matt Hicks drunk wandering through the forest.
I was going to say Matt Hicks is probably as good. The more I talk with Matt Hicks, the more I realize that he's probably Sasquatch.
Right. I mean,
he is often wandering through the woods, bewildered and very ginger.
Yep.
It's probably Matt Hicks. So here's the next question. Thanks for that political question, by the way. Here's from Will McElveen.
Will McElveen here on the personal injury attorney, Chris Reynolds, attorney at law, anchor call-in moment. Got it right, damn it.
Anywho, he got it right.
I just want to say, come on, man. Have you seen Biden's tax plan? This is ridiculous. Not to mention the stimulus crap that he's going to try and do. Let's just print more fucking money out of thin air. Makes no sense. Anywho, hope y'all are doing well. Been a while since I've called in, but Either way, love y'all. Have a good day. And hashtag guy on phone.
Come on,
Yeah,
man.
come on, man. Come on, man.
Come on, man. Come on, man.
Corn Pop was a bad dude.
Corn Pop was bad dude.
He ran with a bunch of bad boys. Yeah, no, Biden's
Bad boys.
tax plan is awful. Currently, I am sitting in the studio at Time Code Production, and fantastic guys. Like four people own and run this company. They do everything that this company needs. They're the writers. They're the people who shoot it. They're the people who produce it. They're the people who sell. Four people do everything for this company. And they are a fantastic video creating and editing company. So for any of your video and editing needs, go to timecodeproduction.com.
Timecode Production. Yep.
But today, they were talking about Biden's tax plan before the show. And they were very concerned about some of the increases that they, as a small business, were going to be seeing. And coming off of a pandemic, where it was hard to sell video. A lot of people didn't need video done.
Right.
But they, they've continued to make it throughout all of this. And then they're going to get hit with a higher tax bill should this tax plan go through. And that scares them. Like that, obviously it scares them. It should. It absolutely should. And it should for anybody that's a small business owner, and it should for anybody that's a corporation, because these taxes are going to go up for literally everybody, which will increase the cost of everything for everybody.
Yep. Yeah. No.
Yeah. I mean,
this is one of those things where there's just nothing redeemable about it. So like, there's some stuff with Biden, like, okay, he's repealing the Muslim ban. Great. His immigration plan seems to be somewhat better than Trump's, although deportations have gone up. So that'll remain to be seen if it's all just, changing window dressing, but not really changing anything. But at least the tenor and tone of it sounds like he's going to probably be a little bit better on immigration, but we don't know. He's more than likely going to be better on trade. Not positive of that, but probably so. He's going to end the trade wars, which is good for American consumers and American workers and American businesses. What else? Got to reinstate the Iran nuclear deal. That's probably a good thing. It's pretty downhill after that. And it was mostly downhill with Trump. I mean, you'd have to look at the handful of things he did. This plan is everybody pays more in taxes. And it's it's really bad. And this is, I mean, when you say, which of the two parties is worse on taxes, typically it's the Democrats that are worse on taxes. The Republicans try their best to be bad too, for some reason. But the Democrats typically, like when it comes to taxes, holy crap, they just don't even pretend that you have a right to your money. And it's pretty much a favor what they let you keep. And it's bad. Come on, man.
It's bad. Come on, man. Corn
so
Pop
here
is
is
bad, dude.
Corn Pop was a lion, dog face, pony soldier, man. So here's another one from Billy Pierce.
Howdy, Spike and Matt. Billy Pierce here from Houston, Texas. Hope you're doing well. Listen, there's a lot of folks out there right now that are finding themselves politically homeless or political orphans or ideologically estranged from their previous movements. And it's a great opportunity for us to bring folks in to the liberty movement and the Libertarian Party. But like in true libertarian fashion, what we're doing instead is arguing amongst ourselves, often in full public view. And it's heartbreaking and a little bit embarrassing because we don't seem to be able to argue or disagree with one another civilly. And I find that problematic. So I was wondering, the two of you, surely you don't agree on everything. How do you handle things that you disagree on? And I'm talking about real things, policy things, ideological
is a different question.
Yeah, it is a different
how do the two of you disagree with one another and still maintain a working relationship? Can you give us some examples and some advice how to get along? Thanks, guys.
He had me in the first half. I thought he had forgotten he had already asked the question. So Yeah, I'll let you start with this. How do we deal? We don't really disagree on a lot.
We don't really disagree on a whole lot. Like there's been a few things over the course of 2 years that we were slightly off on, but not
like minor.
Yeah.
Really, the biggest disagreements we've had are like predicting outcomes, like. And that's not really like disagreement, like, oh, you're wrong. It's like, well, I think in 2018, you thought that the Republicans were going to hold a slight majority in the House, and I thought it was going to be that the Democrats would hold a slight. We ended up being both wrong. The Democrats just completely swept it. But so like that kind of stuff. But I don't know that we have a.
I mean, the time you took your shirt off during the campaign, I was like, oh, what are you doing? But, it's your campaign.
But that's not a political disagreement. We're like, what the hell are you doing more than a political
why
disagreement?
did you do this? We really, like, legitimately, we don't disagree on a whole lot.
On a lot, yeah.
And if ever there was, I know on my end, if ever there was a time that I did disagree with Spike, usually by the time he explained his position, it was better than any explanation I had for my side. And it just kind of, I was like, well, now we just agree on that, I guess.
Is that why we agree on everything? Because those rare times we disagree. Those rare times we disagree, by the time I'm done, you're like, yes, me too.
Billy, in the comments, Billy said, what about business decisions? And in business decisions, there's only been one thing that I remember us really disagreeing on, but I did let Spike do it. And we lost our like button because of it. We lost our like button on Facebook because he decided to go Yang Gang happy one day. And we never got that back. We never got that back.
So now I defer to Matt on all business things.
Yeah.
Because I said, Matt, I got a fantastic idea. I've got about 250 Yang Gang memes. It was at the height of Yang Gang. It was when everyone was doing the height of
Yang Gang.
And he was like, I think this is a bad idea. We don't even support Andrew Yang. And I'm like, yeah, but it's viral. So about 80 later, I lost the ability to post for 12 hours. And then we lost our like button.
Which we didn't know we lost our like button until months later when I was talking to somebody about the show and he goes, I want to like your page, but I can't. And I was like, huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it explained why we went from growing by like 2,000 likes a day to none.
Just a bunch of follows. And even then it was way down.
On business things, I defer. But even on that, most business stuff we even agree on. Like we really agree on a lot of stuff.
We really agree on a lot of stuff. That's part of the reason it has worked so well.
Yeah, and when we do disagree, it's like really minor stuff. We're both like, you know what, just do it your way, and the other one's like, no, just do it your. And so we end up just like compromising that little different bit. Like we really just don't. Watch, now we're gonna disagree on everything. Yeah. So I don't know. I can tell you. Put it this way. Here's another example. When I just disagree with someone in general, and Matt can weigh in on this as well. I tend to look at where they're coming from. And also looking at the fact that I may not know everything and that they may have a good point. And so usually I'm think different than a lot when I'm having a very deep political discussion or debate. As long as they're doing it in good faith, I'm more than happy to like ask questions and find out more about their thoughts. And by the time they're done explaining it, I may be like, oh yeah, no, I'm still right here. I'm going to explain why I think that, my way's better or whatever. But by then I've built up a rapport where I can do that. Or while they're talking, I might be like, huh, okay, well then maybe that's a good point. I agree to disagree, or you might be right or whatever. So that's the way I handle that. I don't see a disagreement as a reason to come to blows or get personal or anything like that. I might be wrong.
Yeah, I wake up every day. I mean, I'm dating a Jewish woman, so I wake up every day assuming I'm wrong about something.
And should feel guilty about it.
And should feel very guilty about it. I love her though, and she's my world. She makes my food, and it is amazing.
I was gonna say I date a Jewish woman who cooks all my meals. So here, let me trash talk.
Oh yeah, she can comment this week. But yeah, so
Tread
like
carefully.
whenever I for a short period of time, until she threatens to murder me again. But whenever I go into a disagreement, like I know I don't know everything.
Right.
If I'm I hate losing, but I know I don't know everything. So you have to do a good job convincing me that your opinion is right. However, I am willing to switch, but it hurts me on the inside to do it.
Because you've lost.
Because I've lost, right.
The way I look at it is either I'm right now or I'm about to be right after you explain something that makes more sense than what I thought. And like I just, and maybe it's from the business time that I've had with business, but I always saw losing or failing as an opportunity to learn. And you know, it's like one more puzzle piece, you know, that was missing, that's now in place for how to be able to do it successfully. And I guess maybe I look at it the same way with that. I'm not, you know, the reason that I've evolved quite a bit politically in the first place was because I wasn't really terribly married to ideas once I was, well, maybe the drugs changed me too. Because once I was sober, I was just like, yeah, you know what, you might be right, and it kind of did that. So it's when I was on drugs that it was hard to change my mind. So here's one more from Billy Pierce.
Howdy, Spike and Matt. Billy Pierce from.
I'm wondering if the first 30 seconds of this is going to be the exact same, but then he'll like flip it up on us at the end. Anyway,
Houston, Texas here again. Calling to talk to you about bigotry. Bigotry is getting batted around a whole lot online these days amongst libertarians, seeing new people come into the movement or come into the party. And some folks are worried about the party being inundated by bigots. Now, bigotry is a funny word. Everybody thinks they know what it means, and nobody thinks that they're a bigot.
Yeah.
But bigotry actually has a lot of different definitions and a lot of different understandings. Should we be allowing folks who hold bigoted opinions to come into the party and try to change their minds once they're here? Or should we be gatekeepers and say, you can't come in here until you're no longer a bigot? Is bigotry allowable under libertarian principles so long as it's not, we don't use force to enforce it? And how do you understand bigotry? What's your definition? Thanks, guys.
Do you want to do this one first, or?
So my definition of bigotry is thinking that you or a group of people that you are a part of is better than another. Like that, basically. Essentially, that's it. That's my own personal definition. And do I think that we should allow people in the Libertarian Party who have bigoted ideas? I think that anybody who is saying we need to keep any group of people out has bigoted ideas. And
by the textbook definition.
By the textbook definition,
yeah,
they have bigoted ideas. I do think a lot of minds can be changed by talking to people. I think a lot of people have these ideas in their heads of what it is they're trying to keep out, or what it is, of people that they want to not see in the party or whatever. And even the people who are trying to come in who, they might have bigoted ideas against other groups. But it's about talking to them and making them realize we're looking at individual rights. We aren't looking at group rights. If you look at the individual and you say that person deserves every right that everybody else has, then you can't really be bigoted against people or groups of people because you're looking at them
Right.
as an individual.
I agree. So, first of all, Corey Arms asked, Spike, did you go to rehab? No, Corey, I actually just, I went cold turkey, and I had a couple little minor slips in that time, but within a matter of pretty much by the end of about a month's time, I was pretty much clear, of taking anything. And I just am not, I'm one of those people that have I've been very blessed that I didn't, have a desire to go back to that or anything else. Because I did everything. And allegedly, I didn't actually do anything.
You're in South Carolina.
I'm in South Carolina, which has no statute of limitations for anything. So I have no idea what drugs even are, but they sound terrible. They sound awful. So someone actually posted where is it? The definition, Fetcher Jordan. Here, the definition of bigotry in this, when I Googled it, it was the same thing. A person who is obstinately or unreasonably attached to a belief, opinion, or faction, especially one who is prejudiced against or antagonistic toward a group, or a person or people on the basis of their membership of a particular group. So technically, I love you too. Technically, if you say, I don't want a member of this group or ideology in my group, you're technically bigoted. Now, when we use the word bigotry, we typically use it to mean people who are intolerant of, people because of intrinsic things that they can't control. So bigoted against women, bigoted against gender and sexual minorities, bigoted towards people of different colors and things like that. And so there were two questions there. One is, can bigotry exist in a libertarian framework or society? And what should we be doing if there are people who have bigoted ideas coming to the Libertarian Party? I will again say this, and I can speak as someone who came here as a recovering neocon who still thought that the military should probably turn most of the Middle East into glass, with nuclear weapons, and who had some pretty garbage opinions on immigration too. When I first got here, I am glad that there are people who, instead of saying, no, get out, you don't, you still have some problematic and racist, borderline racist, or at least bigoted and certainly anti-authoritarian views, get out, that instead they said, hey, welcome here. Here's why your opinions are trash. And here's why we're right. And here's why you're wrong. And that's much better. I'm here now because I was welcomed and told why I was wrong. And I think we should be doing that. Welcoming people. Now, if someone's coming in, they're trying to, recruit for their clan or something like that. That's one thing. I'm talking about people who legitimately are coming to the movement because they agree with a lot of what we're saying. It makes sense to them. They recognize they're never going to get what they want from Republicans or Democrats. They're really starting to be disillusioned with what they believe. But darn it, why do we got to let Mexicans in? And you go, hey, welcome in. Here's why we got to let Mexicans in. For the same reason we just let you in, schmuck. And this is how you can actually get people and bring them in. If they already agree with you on some things, you can then say, hey, great, here's why we are consistent in thinking that way about immigration or about foreign policy or about criminal justice or whatever. But you can't have that conversation if you push them away. They're going to go back to whatever they go to. Also, keep in mind, most people are the product of the media they consume and their social circles. So if you bring them into your social circle and expose them to your media, Muddy Waters Media, your media, now you've changed their opinion. Very few people come in with these very strong, political, philosophical underpinnings. They come in with kind of a hodgepodge of ideas that mostly came from the media they consume and their social network of people, social safety, their social circle and network and so forth. So become their new social circle and expose them to better ideas. That's my opinion on it. The question as to whether or not bigotry can exist in a libertarian society. In a libertarian society, a bigot is not a powerful person. A bigot is just, or a racist is just a jerk. and they don't have the power to use that against people. Other than they can say, you aren't welcome in my house. Okay, well, if you're a racist, I don't want to be in your house. But they can't say, you're not welcome in this entire neighborhood, or you have to only use substandard services. You can't use the same services that the people I like can use, or you're not going to be able to get a mortgage, or you're not going to be able to get a job. Instead, they're just saying, hey, I don't like you, and you can't come over here to my house, and I don't want you in my hardware store. And we go, all right, well, we all hate you too, schmuck. And, you know, we don't want to have anything to do with you. That is, you know, the example I always use. Adolf Hitler as a neighbor in a neighborhood is a prick that everyone avoids and tells their kids to stay off his lawn because he's an idiot and a bit crazy. Adolf Hitler as the head of the HOA gives everyone headaches until eventually they go, okay, we got to get rid of this Hitler guy and replace him with Steve. He's a much better, he's going to make a much better HOA president. Adolf Hitler, in charge of a country, rounds up and kills tens of millions of people and causes hundreds of millions more to die in a world war that he triggered. In a libertarian society, we remove the power from bad people, so they're just schmucks that we can avoid. There's yet a third question. Can someone who is a libertarian be a bigot? And the answer to that is that there is no such thing as 100% libertarian, 0% libertarian. It's all on a spectrum. To whatever degree you recognize the self-ownership and the personal autonomy and the right to not be aggressed upon of every individual person, to whatever degree you agree with that, is to whatever degree you increasingly don't agree with the idea, well, yeah, but there are certain people who don't deserve that, or who just aren't good, or, you know, they're prone to bad behavior, so we have to control them, or whatever. So can you be 85% libertarian and 15% bigoted? Sure. Is that a full libertarian? No. And to whatever degree they have bigoted and racist views, that's the part of them that isn't libertarian. That's how removed from, you know, full libertarianism that they are. Which again is why we bring them in and we convince them otherwise. I think it's a very troubling thing to deperson people because they have garbage ideas. They're still people. They just have garbage ideas. And if they're not actively trying to hurt you, bring them in and try to change their mind and talk them off the ledge so they don't end up hurting someone. That's what I think.
And Billy said a little while, about 10 minutes ago in the comments, we can't change people until they know that we care about them. And that's true. Like,
yes,
nobody's going to change for people that are going to just brush them aside at any moment. There's no point. So if you show them that we care about them as individuals, as just regular people, then they will start to see that they should just care for individuals as people, and that will begin to spread.
And some people are going to be like, hey, this sucks. I want to be a racist. So they leave. Okay, good. Bye. Like, that's fine. That's also fine. Like, that was always allowed. You know, when they go, I'm out of here, I want to be okay, good, go be a racist. Like, that's not what we're about. And we're glad that you got to hear some ideas. And hopefully you stop being a prick. And the thing is, whatever seeds they leave planted in their head, even if they never fully germinate, they're in there, and maybe they'll be less of a prick than they would have been without it. I don't know. But, you know, that would be my, now, if someone's being, you know, coming in and they're trying to threaten people, or they're trying to be, you know, like, exclusionary and things like, that's one thing. You know, if they're doing bad things, then that's one thing. But, yeah, let's try to be nice to people. Someone asked a very interesting, Justico Mitchell says, can you be a libertarian and a determinist? Which is a very interesting question. A determinist, for those who don't know, and I'm probably butchering this somewhat, but a determinist believes that everything that is going to happen has already been predetermined. So like a lot of Christians and a lot of Muslims and even some Jews believe everything's already been set, and we're just basically watching it unfold, completely powerless to change it one way or another. Well, libertarianism exists within that, so yeah. You may believe it's already all determined, but I guess you're not libertarian in a philosophical sense because you don't believe in free will. But you, I guess, de facto can be a libertarian because you can determine that you always were determined to let people do whatever they were going to do. Maybe? I don't know. Probably wasn't the best answer. But so here is, we have one from Matt Hicks. And
Jesus,
Matt...
absolutely not.
Literally not. And I think we actually got booted, it looks like. We're back now. I don't think anyone was able to hear that. But no, we don't want to see that.
No, we absolutely don't want to see that.
We do not. But thank you. No, thank you. So here is our last question from
every single person is like, you were booted, heard nothing. And trust me, everybody, it's for the best.
Yeah, no, you definitely. It's just, no, we don't want to have that live stream.
We don't want that.
This is what everyone thought the hot dog story would be. This is kind of worse than that. Yeah, this is worse. So here's our last one.
Personal injury attorney Chris Reynolds here with some Biden bits. So as we've had the first little bit of the new Biden presidency and some of the choices that he's made for cabinet positions, some of the executive orders that he signed, and some of the things that he's indicated that he wants to accomplish, it kind of got me thinking, all the different things that he's doing that are different, and kind of probably the tough decisions that he's having to make. So I wanted to hear from you guys, especially Spike, if possible, what he thought of the Packers' decision to kick a field goal with 2 minutes remaining and never getting the ball back and essentially losing the game. Thanks.
He's gone for months. It's his segment.
It's his segment. Which means that we can never not play his questions.
Of course, but it's always this.
I know.
I don't even know. It sounds terrible, Chris. I don't.
So I was watching the game with personal injury attorney Chris Reynolds, attorney at law. He was sitting.
Oh, okay.
He was sitting to my left.
He was guy on right.
Yeah, he was guy on right.
Wow. Hashtag Chris on right.
Yeah. Hashtag yeah. But yeah, we were watching the game together, and the Packers were down at like the 15 or 20 yard line with about a little over 2 minutes left, and he said it was a little over 2 minutes left, and he said, you have to go for the touchdown here. You absolutely need to go for the touchdown. I said, no, you just go for the field goal, and you really want your defense. You get points on the board, and then you just really want your defense to hold them. And he said, no, you got to go for the touchdown. And they kicked the field goal, and then the Packers never got the ball back and ended up losing. So I am certain that that was where that question stemmed from. But should the Packers have gone for a touchdown? Maybe. If they didn't get it, everybody would say they should have gone for the field goal and tried to stop them. They put the points on the board, and then their defense just wasn't able to stop. I almost said the Patriots. That's not right. Tom Brady stopped the Tampa Bay Bucks.
So, yeah, I don't know. So it is being demanded that we replay Matt. And as Matt just said, you're all going to regret this, but you wanted this. So here we go. Hopefully we get knocked off again.
To our audio only, we apologize because you're now going to hear this twice.
You're going to hear this twice because the live people demanded to get punished. Anyway, I'll play it.
They're feeling bigoted against the...
Well, hello there, Guy on left and Spike Cohen and special guest Kingsley Edwards. This is Matt Hicks calling in on the personal injury attorney Chris Reynolds, attorney at law, anchor call-in moment TM. I just have one question for you tonight. This is the only call you're going to get from me. So I had a doctor's appointment yesterday, and apparently I've got to get a colonoscopy. Now, in case you don't know what that is, they give me this stuff that I call shit juice that I have to drink, and then it makes me shit. And then I go in the next day, and they jam an HD camera up my ass and pump me full of air like a balloon animal. And my question for you guys is, would you like me to see if they can live stream it for you? Hashtag Laser Legend.
No.
No. Still no.
Still no. So now you guys have gotten to experience that. And no. So folks, this show's over now. What an ideal fitting for this show.
Right.
Ending for this show.
Yeah, we were going to go into Biden's executive
order.
And
now they want us to live stream Matt's.
No, that would get us kicked off of everywhere but flote.app.
That would get me. I would kick myself off of this.
Right.
Yeah, that would get us kicked off Flote. Is that what you want?
We were going to go into Biden's executive orders, but it's now 10 o'clock and I now have a job that I have to get up for in the morning.
Yeah. So long story short, Biden signed a bunch of executive orders. They're pretty much all terrible.
Yep. They are pretty much.
There's like a couple that aren't terrible, but they're mostly terrible. But you already knew that. So, folks, thanks again for tuning into this episode of the Muddy Waters of Freedom, except for Matt. And thank you to our guest, Kingsley Edwards. That was awesome. And go over to Flote, flote.app. Go sign up today. Go join us on Flote.
Flote, flote.app.
And speaking of social media, Matt, if someone were to try to find us on the internet, is that even possible? And if so, how?
It would be possible. First of all, you could go to flote, flote.app/muddiedwatersmedia, and you can follow us there. Or if you're one of the old school people who really, truly enjoy the sweet, sultry sounds of dulcet tones of our butter-like, God-like voices.
Butter God.
Booming through your preferred
Butter God.
Delivering a daily dose of freedom into your ear holes. You can head on over to anchor.fm/muddiedwaters, where you can leave us questions that we will play live on the air, unless your name is Matt Hicks. And you can also donate money to us if you are so inclined. And we are much more likely to play your episodes, Matt Hicks.
Again, unless you're Matt Hicks.
Unless you start donating at least $10 a month, Matt Hicks, I'm going to delete every single one of them as soon as we get them.
Because we're trying not to get removed from social media. Or
you can find this and every other episode at muddiedwatersmedia.com.
Well, that is fantastic. So, folks, be sure to tune in tomorrow. I'm going to be on Kennedy. I don't know exactly when, but her show's from 8 to 9. I'm usually about halfway through. I'm going to be on Kennedy. I don't know what I'm talking about yet, but I'm going to be on Kennedy. And then check me out at 9 on My Fellow Americans. I'm going to do a Q&A episode. We're going to have a Q&A, and you can ask your questions, and I'll answer them, unless you are Matt Hicks. Then probably not. Probably not.
Billy Pierce, if you want either one of us to record your outgoing voicemail messages, donate $100 to muddiedwatersmedia at gmail.com on PayPal. And I will record the crap out of a message for you.
We both will. Will. We'll make something magical for you, Billy, and the rest of you too. So, folks, and then join us again next week right here, same muddied place, same muddied time, for another gobsmacking episode of the Muddy Waters of Freedom, where Matt Wright and I parse through the week's events like the 2020 Wonder Boys that we are. Folks, thanks again for tuning in. We'll see you next week, or I'll see you tomorrow. We'll see you next week, and where we're going,
we don't need roads.
My fellow Americans. we embarked on a mission to make America great again for all Americans. As I conclude my term as the 45th President of the United States, we did what we came here to do.
Well, it's about time.
Please don't lose that respect. The world respects us again. Please don't lose that respect. Make America great again. Respect. Respect. Please don't lose that respect. The movement we started is just beginning. To serve as your president has been an honor beyond description. I had not spent my career as a politician, and perhaps most importantly of all, thousands of people came out with their families. I knew that they did not just come out for me. It deeply moved me. They came out to show me their support and love for me. I did not seek the easiest course. I did not. We did what we came here to do. Please don't lose that respect. The world respects us again. Please don't lose that respect. Make America great again. Respect. Respect. Please don't lose that respect. The movement we started is just beginning. So I left behind my former life and stepped into a very difficult arena. Now, as I leave the White House, we must never forsake our belief in America. I fought for you, I fought for your family, I fought for our country. Above all, I fought for America, strong, proud, and free. We extend our best wishes, and we also want them to have luck. A very important word. Please don't lose that respect. The world respects us again. Please don't lose that respect. Make America great again. Respect. Respect. Please don't lose that respect.